Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SubculturedTV. My name is Tyler.
My name's Jess.
And I'm Chris.
We have a pretty good episode for you today, and we'll just kind of get right into it. How the heck do renewals work? Because I think all of us are kind of wondering at home why X anime hasn't been renewed, why other ones have, even though they seemed more mid. Or sometimes, they get movies, but then there is no subsequent series or there's no subsequent series to actually end it all, right? Even though we know that the manga has been finished. So just kind of wanted to go over a little bit before we get into this of what I know about how renewals work, and then just kind of talk more about, which animes do we want to get renewed, which animes had bad endings or maybe, had bad seasons that we wish got redone, similar to like a Brotherhood kind of a thing. So just kind of getting into it. I know from a renewal standpoint, and I guess just kind of also similar to when mangas become anime, is one usually has to deal with the total number of novels or light novels sold, or the manga copies actually sold. And I know that they also take into account the number of copies sold after it actually becomes an anime, just to see, whether or not it sparked any increased interest. I know that there's also usually the number of ratings that it has, and the number of viewers that they actually get. But beyond that, to be honest, I'm sure there's a lot of politics behind it. I know there's probably a lot of complexity in terms of, being able to get the mangaka to approve different things, or even, finding enough studio people to actually work on it, even though there might be new seasons coming out.
Yeah. I have a indisputable anime to start us off,
Okay.
which is No Game, No Life.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a good anime. You were talking about light novel sales, which I don't know quite how they did, but in terms of merchandise, I know a lot of fellow anime watchers, they have a ton of No Game, No Life figures. They have a ton of different shirts, right? Merch is going crazy for them, even well after their season ended, right?
Yeah.
This is how long since it ended, and they're still going strong. And let's be honest here, that was a banger season, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know a single person that doesn't like it.
Well,
We got teased with the movie.
yeah. And
Oh
the
my
crazy thing is,
gosh.
Yeah.
I was so happy with that movie. I think a lot of anime movies, except newer ones, they've been a lot better about. But in the past, anime movies either weren't canon or the story wasn't done too well.
Yep.
As where this was both canon, and it completely elevates the original series to an actual isekai, right?
Yes.
It's like an isekai. It was already isekai to begin with, but it isekai'd them into their original existence before they got isekai'd again. So I really enjoyed it. For me, it was really upsetting that they haven't done it, especially because I'm pretty sure it's finished.
Yeah.
At least
The manga?
Yeah. The manga.
Well, it's a light novel.
Yeah, the light novel
light
is
novel.
completely finished. We had a lot more characters introduced. But for me, what's also upsetting is I'm someone who's a big No Game, No Life collector.
Yes.
So I have a lot of the different figures. There's not enough figures made.
I agree.
And because there's not enough figures made, just getting your hands on them, on some of the more exclusive ones, can get really pricey. And there's just not enough variability. All the Jabril ones are more so Jabril either in baby form or Jabril in a more etchy kind of a scenario, but not really Jabril just popping off, right?
Ooh,
in her battle maiden form.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So they have it, but it's her after she already lost some of her life years, because Flugels lose life years as they use their magic. So it's her as a pretty chibi kid version of herself, which is I want just Jabril popping off.
Yep.
I want more Sora figures. There's a lot of.
Do Sora figures even exist? I haven't been able to find any.
I think that there is one, but for the most part, it's Shiro.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I have
Okay.
a few Shiro ones. I have the Shui one from the movie. I don't think that there was whoever Sora was originally in his previous life in the movie. I don't think there's any of him. There's a few Stephanie or Steph ones.
Let's be honest. No one cares for Steph.
Yeah.
Who?
Steph?
Ooh. Yeah. I was gonna-
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm hoping for more more everything from No Game No Life.
Yeah, well, here's the interesting thing. It's based on light novels, right? And season 1 goes from book 1 kind of into 2. The movie is actually book, I think it's either 4 or 5. So it's not even that they're going in order in terms of how they're animating it. They skipped a couple of books, whole books, to get to the part where we actually have the movie, because the movie is actually part of the book series that they have. It's obviously a flashback.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
well,
it's
they
like
actually
a whole book
don't
about
meet
it.
they don't meet the old Deus like that soon. Because at the very end of the anime series, we get to like see them actually make contact with them. That doesn't happen until a little bit later.
And a part of me wonders if that's why. Maybe they couldn't come to an agreement, like the mangaka, or not the mangaka, sorry. The author wants it to be very true to the books. And the animators are saying, we've already started. Like, you can't just take away the meeting from the end of the series. So we just have to go forward with this new plan. And maybe that's why it hasn't been animated. I can't say. But I think the whole anime community is on board in that we want a second season. We will watch a second season. The second season is going to be great. And so it just comes down to, why hasn't it been animated? It's been so long.
Especially because like I actually really love the world that they were building up. Because we've met 4 races.
Yeah, so we met the
elves,
Flugels, we met the elves,
yep.
we met the beast, and we met the obviously the humans, or whatever they're called in that world, the Elkians. Humanity is what they were called.
Yeah, humanity.
I know we get to meet. I believe there's like a siren that we get to meet, and then there's like a few other ones as well.
The dwarves, like the other ones that we have to meet. And like so it just there was so much in the world that we could be introduced to that I feel like, especially because like since isekai is like the biggest thing in the market right now, right?
Yes.
It would be like a perfect opportunity to slap an actual good isekai into a season.
And my least favorite thing is there's people every single year that write, an SEO optimized like blog about how this is going to be the year that they come back.
Oh,
and
such a
every
tease.
Single year.
Oh, same.
And
it's never true.
Yeah, it's never true. I've been waiting for it for like years now.
Or those Instagram posts that go viral that say, rumors has it that No Game No Life season 2 is coming out.
I saw one where it's just said confirmed second season. I was like, yes, and then it doesn't happen.
So I won't believe anything until I see a trailer from it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
but I really need it to come out. I think even just from an animation style, it's like probably my favorite anime in terms of like the colors, or it makes you feel like you're actually isekai'd with them, right?
Yeah. So, well, and because that came out 2011, 12?
A long time ago,
yeah.
It's but like it keeps up with today's of what they're able to do, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from a comedy standpoint, it's like one of the top comedies.
It's actually funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So sad.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that one. Now, I definitely have one for you, and I know you guys probably are not going to agree with me. It's a little bit of an etchier anime.
Rosario plus Vampire?
Yes, Rosario Vampire.
Oh my god. I was hoping you weren't going to say that.
It's everything you want.
Yeah, there's something for everyone. You want a succubus.
Want a vampire?
You want a vampire. You want an ice girl, who was surprisingly my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, the ice girl was super cool. You have like witches.
Werewolves.
Werewolves. You have whatever that teacher was that was disciplining him. But in all seriousness, yes, it's ecchi. I'm not going to deny that. But it's actually a good story if you can get past it. And in all honesty, it stopped right at the part where things really pick up in the manga. So like right when he gets his ghoul powers and he really becomes someone that like needs to be protected, to someone that actually can defend himself, is actually like a pivotal part in the manga. And I wish they continued it. I mean, it has everything you want. It has like the transformation scenes.
Why didn't they continue it? Was there any statement on what happened?
Personally, I haven't seen any statements.
Okay.
I think it's one of those ones where every time they cancel an anime, usually there's only speculation, right? There's never really like concrete, like no one is ever going to come out and say, we canceled this because it wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think they try to leave those doors open. I mean, that being said, I wish they came out with it. I think especially with today's animation, it could do really well. And I think it's more of an original fun story than some of the stuff that is coming out now where it's just isekai, 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 isekai. But I like isekai, so I'm not complaining.
No, it's not just that. It's isekai, isekai parody, isekai, 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 isekai parody, isekai parody.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like especially this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all either isekai, a parody of an isekai.
Yeah.
And maybe like 4 or 5 original ideas, kind of.
Yeah,
and
but
like out of those 5, they're all just romance.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. So it's rough, but I actually did enjoy that series though. So
yeah.
But do you know how much of it is left according to like the source material?
I would say at least if it's like today's seasons, you know, I would say probably 2 seasons because it's only like 12 episodes nowadays, right? Usually like unless you're like a Blue Lock where you get like 24 or something like that. But usually it'd probably be about 12. So maybe about 2 seasons left. Okay. You could probably wrap it up pretty cleanly like that.
Yeah, it'd be great if they brought it back now.
Yeah. And I mean, the nice thing about that is like, it doesn't take too much, I would say, like effort to watch. You know, you're not going to be lost at any point. And it does have like an overarching plot where it's essentially, you know, these people are monsters, but at the end of the day, like this kid who got transferred to this school, although he's like developed these ghoul powers, he is still considered a human, and they want him to become like the bridge between the monster realm and like the human realm.
Yeah.
So it is a pretty cool story. It's like an ecchi Hotel Transylvania.
What?
That's an interesting take.
Yeah. So if you like Hotel Transylvania,
just
and you're not a kid,
if it was like rated R, right?
Yeah.
How dare you sully Selena Gomez's name?
She wish she could be Rosario.
Whoa! She doesn't wish for anything.
I would have to agree with Tyler on this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, Jess.
The only thing it doesn't have is elves. Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah, it's true.
At least in the anime.
Yeah.
In the manga too.
We don't. Yeah, we don't.
I
see
haven't read
any
the manga,
elves.
so I wouldn't know.
Well, I'm telling you now.
Yeah. So that's mine.
So for me, it would be Magi. I mentioned it a couple of episodes ago.
You mentioned it,
but don't they have like 50 different Magis?
Yeah.
So there's 3 seasons of Magi,
Okay.
2 of which are only like part of the main story, and then the prequel, which is Sinbad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but it pretty much leaves off after that, like the ending battle of the school when one empire is trying to conquer the school, like the school is its own country, and then obviously it ends up like in a draw, but it's because there's so much more to the story that they can get done. Like they essentially have enough for 3 more seasons.
Yeah, and
it sucks because when Magi ended, like the series ended, the creator started something called Orient, which got an animated series last year, and that did terribly.
Interesting.
And that got renewed for a second season.
Mm.
So I don't understand. Like it was animated terrible. Like it's a great series in the manga, but like the anime sucks.
Do you have any speculation on why Magi wasn't renewed?
I know the first time around it's because it's the slot that it was fighting for lost to One Piece, obviously.
Why did they not just go for a different slot? Why would they try to compete? That's on them.
No, because One Piece changed.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
and you can't compete against One Piece.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, and so it was supposed to get pushed. And I forget what happened after that, and then the remaining time slots essentially were filled up with, because it was A1 Pictures that was originally animating them, and they dropped them, and they just can't find another
animator.
to pick them up.
Interesting. What's the public reception to Magi like overall?
Honestly, anyone that's I've talked to that's watched the series, has told me nothing but good things about it. They've loved the story from start to finish. It's just it came out during the time when like it was the golden era of like anime. So like you're like at the same time as Full Metal Alchemist, like Brotherhood, right? Yeah. You have Hunter x Hunter, the 2011. What else came out during that? It's Soul Eater was out at the same time. So like all these bigger animes that were coming out, and it had, but it still has a very loyal following that I would love to see finally get animated, because like we never get a chance to go to like the other continent that gets mentioned, and like there's so much of the world that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
You know, so especially if you're into like a power system that's not overly complicated, historical figures, you know, it doesn't give you a very because the main protagonist finally like isn't that underpowered person that just, because I all of a sudden got this one power up, now I'm more powerful than everybody else. This main protag actually has to rely on his quote unquote like B team, his support team, to actually get anything done. And he's not, and he's smart. He's not dumb. Sorry, Jess.
I mean, that's why I don't watch it.
I think you guys would really enjoy it though if you guys give it a chance, or any of you. I'm really fighting for season 3 here. So,
season 4, right?
No, season 3 because
the first
Sinbad.
one Sinbad's just a prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, so Sinbad doesn't count.
It's like a Jujutsu Kaisen 0. It's not like a season.
Yeah.
It's like a.
So I'm fighting hard for season 3.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, it's got great designs, got great waifus. If that helps.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with mine, which is Tower of God. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been a big follower of this webtoon for a long time, and I watch a lot of webtoons. A little too much, some would say. I read probably like close to like anywhere from 5 to 10 per day. That's how I pace myself.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Tower of God only gets better after the first season. The first season is good in my opinion, but the second season, if you guys know, after the betrayal and everything, that's when it gets really good. And we saw our protagonist Bomb, right? You could tell he has some hidden powers available, but that's not fully utilized in season 1.
Yeah.
Oh, he utilizes.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where I think season 2 is going to be much better than season 1, no matter how much I like season 1. And I'm very excited for it to come out. That being said, it is a newer anime, so there is a chance that it's going to get renewed.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't been announced yet. But it's not an isekai, so maybe that puts it automatically out of the running.
So I know you say that Bomb gets better, but to be completely honest, until I see it and see like it's worth that in itself, I think like the biggest reason I want it to come back out is because I want more Kun, and I want more of the princesses.
Yeah,
because the princesses so far have all been super cool.
They are.
I just want to see Rachel get tortured.
Oh my gosh, Rachel is the worst.
Rachel goes unharmed for way too long.
Okay, here you go.
Way too long.
Here you go, Chris. Who would you rather have like with you on a deserted island, Rachel? Or that one kid from Blue Lock that like purposely threw.
And you need to rely on them for survival. You cannot off one of them.
For me, it's easy.
Who would you choose?
The guy, because at least at the very end, he ended up like changing his mind.
Not to mention, he's like athletic. He can do stuff. Rachel is not crippled, but she is a lazy piece of
Rachel.
Yeah.
So when you say I have to use them, could I eat them?
No, you gotta work
I didn't say you
them.
could use them. All I said was you're stuck with them on this desert.
You have to coexist.
That's helping me with my survival, though.
You have to coexist.
I'd probably go with the bald kid.
No, not the bald kid. The traitor.
The traitor?
Yeah, the traitor. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with him.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's like the right choice.
It is. Rachel's the worst.
Yeah, stabbing from behind. That's just.
And Bomb, the nicest, most caring, just wants to see her succeed. He puts himself on the line for her time.
Call him what he is. He's a simp.
He is a simp, but he is the best simp, all right?
But
you know what? He doesn't change.
He stays a simp
Well, it's not that he's a simp, but like they go head to head multiple times, whether it's an intellectual or a physical fight. And he never deals the finishing blow. In fact, he saves her multiple times. And I don't want to say he purposely lets her escape, but he could have stopped her from escaping if
Sounds
he
like a
wanted
simp.
to. Yeah.
He's called an irregular, right? Is that what they called him? Yeah.
The Irregular at Magic High School.
Don't even mention that.
That's a great series.
Yeah.
It is a great series.
It was a great series until the very last season, and they ruined it. Did you watch the last season?
Yeah, the second season.
Yeah, it was not good. Did you think it was good?
It was all right.
I think I give it like a solid 6.5.
Yeah, whereas the first season was like a 9.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good tournament arc. I know I said I don't like tournament arcs,
See,
but
so
that
you
was
guys
a
do
good,
like tournament arcs.
That was a good tournament
Only
arc.
when it's good,
my-
not in its
Like-
whole. We just like some of them.
That man was the Rizzler for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you gotta watch the Dark Tournament arc.
But see, it's ridiculous that Irregular and Magic High School got a... Well, I guess it makes sense why they got a second season because the first season was so good. But it makes me sad that the second season was so bad when that could have gone to something else.
It's just part of the story. I think it's just building up.
Yeah, you're talking about like Devil's a part timer.
Oh no. First of all, Devil's a part timer did me so dirty.
Yeah.
First of all, I like normally when you have newer animation, it's not that the animation was bad. It's just that they went with more of like a cutesy animation with it rather than like the comical animation that it previously had before. Like it didn't even feel like the same manga like was adapted. It just really felt like a completely new like anime. And it was, in my opinion, it was boring.
It was way too boring.
Yeah.
But what would you like to see more of?
Oh, what I would like to see more of?
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy. Noragami.
Noragami, yes.
How old is that? When did that air?
Probably like around like the 2010s.
No, I think it's earlier than that.
No
way. Yeah, I think the first
Dude.
season aired in like 2008.
Okay, but not far off. Yeah.
No.
So like,
Yeah, that's not getting a second season at this point.
no, it has 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's
It
2
needs a
seasons and we
third.
need a
Or sorry,
third.
it's not
And
getting a third.
we just got to the good part. So we finally found out who Noragami's dad was. And not
know.
only that, he's going to mess stuff up. He is going to mess up like the whole human world.
And I like the concept that they had for gods.
Yeah.
2014, by the way.
2014?
You're
Yeah,
so
like
off.
if no one like praises you.
Yeah, if no
that,
one
like-
praises you, like you become forgotten.
Yeah, and
Right.
we have this character that like no one knows him. So why is he still alive as a god? And we get to that in season 2, but then they like the ending of season 2 is such a big cliffhanger.
I know.
Why do you think it didn't get a season 3?
I think it was part of. I think the second season was so far back. I think it's similar to Devil as a part timer, where because they didn't make like the third season right then and there, it's probably gonna be a bit before like they bring it back. I think that one does have a chance of coming back by popular demand though.
Okay.
I mean, everything about Noragami for me was great. The intros were great. Like the intro musics were great. The actual characters themselves had a lot of depth. So like Yami is like this like foolish, like I guess god, if you will. But at the same time, he's not just like some dumb person. He can hold his own. And much of what he does to be lighthearted is really because of his past, and he doesn't want to be like that serious kind of person anymore.
Okay.
So it's really good. I wish
Because-
there was more.
Because Noragami, he's god of calamity, so like god of war, right?
Yeah,
And the funny thing is, he doesn't even like to fight.
not anymore. Yeah,
Yeah, not anymore. He actually wants to just be peaceful.
yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like the whole story is he wants to go from being a god of calamity to being a god of fortune.
Can you just make that switch?
If depending
Yeah.
on the wishes.
Oh, you know what? It's coming back to me. I remember he like does like not petty, but like
yeah,
small
like
tasks
he'll
for like
watch
money,
over
right?
like a store for someone
Yeah.
that's like needs some.
It's a nice change up.
Okay.
yeah. Especially like after like the whole Bishamon arc. Yeah.
Because what are they called? Like blotches or blotting, right?
Yeah, when like their regalia commit like I guess sins, if you would consider
Yeah.
them sins.
Yeah.
Essentially like if a regalia commits a sin but they don't apologize or confess it, then it like I think it's like a blight, right?
Blight. Yeah,
Yeah.
blight. That's what it's called.
So it'll like pretty much like hurt and actively like burn both the regalia, but also cause blight to the
god.
To the god.
But it hurts the god a lot more.
Yeah, and the only way the god can stop that is either cuts off the ties with the regalia, and usually after that the regalia will die, or they'll kill the regalia. Because if not, it just becomes when they go uncontrolled, they essentially become like these demons that they're trying to kill.
So who wronged him?
His own regalia, his
sword.
His sword is just like.
Well, no, the problem is he's a child.
The sword is a child?
Yeah, he was like a child that like became I guess died very early and became a soul that he turned into his sword, because if it's a good soul, you can turn it into a regalia if you like give it a name.
Okay.
But the problem is it's still a very like young child, so he does a lot of things like, because people can't see him, he stole some stuff, or he like broke some windows, and as a result, because he didn't confess these things, it was starting to cause Yami a lot of blight. And while most other people will punish their regalia for it, because he wants to have like friends and meaningful reactions with and meaningful like relationships, and he doesn't want this person to feel like he's just, like his god and there's no personal relationship, he actually suffers through this for him. It eventually gets resolved and he grows up, like in terms of like mentally growing up, but they explained it pretty well on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually like it's really sweet how Yami is, because he essentially is bearing chronic pain, like constant chronic pain, just to not put too much pressure on his own regalia.
Yeah.
All right.
And the fight scenes are awesome.
Yeah, the fight scenes are great. And man, Yami's one of those weird ones where it's like Yami just in his tracksuit, like mid character, right?
Mid.
But Nami in his past, like,
dude,
that's a daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say the scarf makes him so mid.
Yeah. But that's how he wants to be. He doesn't want to be intimidating,
But like, what about attractive?
I think he's just trying to like be current with the times.
Yeah.
And you know how everyone's wearing a scarf.
Well, what a tracksuit?
Yeah, it's a tracksuit and a scarf, but
the two things that go the most together.
Yeah. All right, Chris, do you have another one that you would hope to get like remade? Or not remade, but get another season.
Renewed?
Yeah.
Highschool DxD.
Oh,
for the plot.
For the plot, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say the plot's actually really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just the plot though, right?
I mean, what the waifu's help.
Now, do you think that it didn't get renewed because of like some kind of Japanese backlash? Because I know that they don't seem like the kind of people that would be super happy about things like that on TV.
Well, no, I know for a while it wasn't getting renewed because the anime caught up to where the light novels were.
Oh.
And so like that's why there was such a big wait between season 3 and season 4.
Okay.
And now we've been waiting for like season 5 to get renewed. But the thing is, they changed, like another part of the reasons why season 4 took so long is because they also changed animated studios.
Oh,
which is also why the stylization kind of changed. I wasn't really the biggest fan of like the new art style.
Yeah.
And now they're supposed to be going back to their original. Like,
but that's if they get renewed, right?
Well, so they were renewed. They were just canceled.
Oh,
before.
Really? Why was it canceled?
COVID.
Oh, so there's a chance.
There's a chance, but at this point, I don't know.
So sad.
Yeah, no, 'cause it's been 3 years.
And we've been waiting for the great plot that they have.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like
the
Opie
plot.
Do you guys know the full story behind Highschool DxD? Explain.
Titties. What else do you need to know? Tell me.
I mean,
there's one other thing.
I mean, other than the Opie dragon, okay. But like I actually do like the world that they did build up into it, like between the different gods that existed, and because like in this world, God, right, and Lucifer died in like the last war that was fought, which is why there's really not a lot of fighting going on anymore. because they have to keep up their perception that Lucifer is still alive, like the devil's still alive, and that God's still alive.
Ah, got it.
You know, so Michael, the archangel Michael, is essentially the new quote unquote like God, but nobody else knows. So he's the one that's actually answering people's prayers.
Interesting.
I love how every time I talk to someone who likes this show, they're always like, wait, but the plot is good. And I didn't even ask. Like, I know I did now, but most of the times, and even when I asked you about this before, every time someone has to mention this show, they're always like, "Whoa, the plot is good. It's for the plot. The plot. Do you know the plot? The plot's great. I'm not watching it for the girls." And I'm like, "There's nothing wrong with watching it for the girls, but you don't gotta be so like passionate about this plot because like
it's because a lot of people kind of gave it a bad rep a little bit, which I understand why. I understand why. I do.
I mean, your favorite anime is Yu Yu Hakusho, right? But when you talk about Yu Yu Hakusho, you're not like, well, my favorite anime is Yu Yu Hakusho, but hold on, the plot is good. You don't do that, right?
Well, no, but it's also because no one's really heard of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Well, you know what, though? Here's what I'll say, and here's why, I support it. Because at the end of the day, those people, that's someone's daughter.
Oh my god!
And I would want someone to support my daughter.
Oh
so
my god!
I support it.
That's someone's daughters you're looking at, Chris, when you watch that show.
And he wants them to come back.
Wow, there was a slight pause, and it just didn't quite sit well with me.
And I'm all about Team Issei. Okay, Oppai Dragon.
Oh my goodness.
As Tyler said, would you like her to come back?
I don't know how to say this without getting canceled, so I'm going to leave that as a silence.
As a definite maybe.
Okay, so obviously those are animes that we want renewed. But one thing that I think was really great that Full Metal Alchemist did is Brotherhood. I mean, we can all agree that Brotherhood is...
Yeah, the movie's great.
Get out of here. It's not just better than the regular Full Metal Alchemist. It's just really good. Like, they did such a great job. And you got to hand it to the manga. Like, it is responsible for why it was good. But I just thought it was such a superb thing that they did. And it was worth it. A lot of people think, well, was it worth it? Because the first half of the first season is exactly the same. And I would argue it's more than worth it because Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood brought in a lot more money, has fan support, and is just overall beloved. And I wanted to talk about shows that need the Brotherhood treatment because, quite frankly, there are some endings out there. And even if just for the ending, these animes cannot be left alone. Yeah. Even if they just reanimated one episode, I would be happy. And I'm going to start us off with something very easy.
Yeah.
Darling in the Franxx.
It could have just ended right after.
Why did she turn into a spaceship?
Yeah, I don't know. It was terrible because you had this incredible character, 02. Mm-hmm. And you had the great relationship, that like...
relationship?
Yeah, literally no pun intended. But yeah, and then you had this great ending, or what you thought was going to be the ending, like fight scene with like the person that 02 was cloned after, right? And then you have that where she petrifies and becomes a spaceship.
None of it makes sense.
Nope, absolutely zero. 0 out of 10 ending.
Yeah.
For a 9 out of 10 show that started off like that.
And can we agree that if they remade that last episode to be anything but that, we would all accept it as the true episode? We would all be happy. I can't imagine anyone complaining about it because there are shows that if you change the ending, people are going to complain and be like, no matter how much it sucked, we got to respect the author. But I think this is one situation in which, author, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for where you got us. We'll take it from here.
So my problem was not even that she became just a ship. Didn't she have a wedding veil on? I guess she was a ship.
Did she?
There's no way.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh my god. I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
Because maybe I blocked that out of my memory. That sounds like a terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
Add-in scene, I guess. additive, whatever.
It was weird too, because it wasn't just like she transformed into a ship, kind of like Transformers. Her face was like weirdly on the ship too. Like she was
The
this
ship.
huge ship, which I have no idea how. Well, okay, I just looked up a picture and
Yeah, I
she's
think like
in
that's
like a
supposed to
wedding
be like a
gown.
mecha wedding gown.
Yeah, she's in like a mecha wedding gown.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which, why? And I think, you know, whatever she has on her head, you could argue that it's not a wedding veil, and you could argue that it is. Because it looks like it, but they never explicitly say it is.
I mean, it's a bad ending, so we could just say it is a wedding veil.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
And
Yeah.
it's such a beloved show.
And there was like a very easy way to even go down that route, right?
Yes.
Rather than her becoming a spaceship in order to like destroy these aliens, just get on a ship as a normal person to then go and fight the aliens in space normally.
I would have rather they lost to the bad guys.
Yeah.
She's just unalive.
Yeah.
I would prefer that
Or
over this.
unalived while unaliving all the bad guys.
Yes.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But like what I'm trying to get at is any bad ending would have been better than this crazy twist and turn of events of her becoming a spaceship.
Yeah. And can I have one extra amendment to the show?
Huh.
Can that one girl just not kiss him after like it was like a really weird like kiss that she like kind of forcibly took.
I remember where she
It was like he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like he was hospitalized, right? And then that's when she went in. She was like, he can't escape me now.
Where are you gonna run, kid?
Yeah. Where are you gonna run? So yeah, that's just my gripe.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it was mine, so.
My biggest one that like it's not even the ending. It's everything after season 2 was 7 Deadly Sins.
Ooh.
And I think we all know why. It wasn't even the story. The story was fine. It was the animation just it became a cartoon. Like it was
Worse
no
than a
longer
cartoon.
It worse than a cartoon.
Yeah.
It literally looked like
a
something
frame by frame.
you would have seen something in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember the first time because I wasn't I think that was season 3, I believe, when we saw like the whole Meliodas versus Escanor fight. And I remember seeing that. But the way I saw it was spoiled for me in an Instagram reel, which, by the way, I hate Instagram reels because like they always recommend me the newest anime stuff.
Yep.
But everyone always just puts like the exact scene from the anime that I would have wanted to have not been spoiled. So that's like a really frustrating thing. But I remember scrolling through Instagram and I saw like the fight between Meliodas and Escanor. And at first I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like a fan made something. And then I was like, that's not bad for like a fan, like taking a week to do something. And then I realized that it was the actual fight.
Yeah. It was probably one of the worst and new animation styles I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if they redid it with better animation, people would actually watch.
Yeah.
I would.
Right?
Especially because like that fight was one of my favorite fights. And they completely ruined it.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the rest of like the series because of it. And it was crazy because season 1 might have had some of the best actual animation in like all of anime. Like you have that part where I forget that one pink-haired guy's name, but he throws the lightning spear and Meliodas just catches it and
throws it right back.
But like the whole scene of him catching it, like it's like a perfectly animated scene. Like the wind blowing, his hair going with the wind, like his feet dragging through the ground pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we got that.
And the movie was great too.
Yeah. I mean, season 2 was not as well animated, but it was like
okay.
it was okay.
Yeah.
Like you could watch it.
Yeah.
You know, especially because Escanor, right? Like Escanor pretty much single-handedly saved season 2.
I will take season 2 animation.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
If that means it gets reanimated.
Because it was just normal animation. It was like fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to go ahead and do everything like with season 1 animation, I'd love that. But yeah, season 2 animation, I'd be perfectly happy with.
Well, for me, I would go with Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know if have you guys watched Tokyo Ghoul?
I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
No. So
So don't spoil it is what I'm trying to say. I haven't finished it. Oh, wait. You know what? Spoil it. It's okay. It's okay. You just tell me.
I was like, how am I going to explain why it's bad?
You're right. You're right. I'm being selfish. Go for it. It's old.
Because the first season, I would say, is probably one of my favorite seasons out of everything I've ever watched.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then it just, they're like, you know what? Here's the blueprint. I don't need the instructions. Goes off completely on its own. No idea where it was going with story. And then season 3 happens. You no idea where I'm going because all of a sudden you get a time jump of like 10 years.
Here, but before you spoil anything, Chris, let me just kind of say this for anyone that's watching, because we haven't said this before.
Oh.
We put a timestamp in the. We actually make sure to put a timestamp in the actual description to kind of go over like when the spoilers end and when they begin. So if you say like if you have a spoiler, just say like
spoil.
We're gonna say a spoiler right now, and you guys can check in the description. Pause it and then go ahead and start where the spoiler ends.
All right. Well, I'm probably gonna say a couple of spoilers right now.
That's fine.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, it's just because. So essentially, you have Kaneki, main character, find out that he becomes a half ghoul. The whole first season, like I said, was fire.
Yeah.
Especially going all the way up to Jason when he's being tortured and he finally is embracing what it feels like to be a ghoul and actually using his abilities. And you go into season 2 where it just, I don't know what happened. Like it went from this really high impact style of animation, great fight scenes to just, I'm just depressed all the time.
Oh no.
And there's a lot of dead air in it, which is really weird to have in an anime.
It is.
And then season 3 happens. That isn't even like they skip. I can't remember. It was like they're 5 years or
5
like 10
more years again.
Yeah, so they skip 5 years. Like so, season 1, season 2, that was probably like maybe a year, and then season 3, I think is like 5 years.
Yeah.
With no explanation what happened, because all of a sudden you were introduced to Kaneki, who has no memories, and is all of a sudden fighting for the people that he was fighting against.
What?
And he's with all these other half ghouls that we have no idea who they are, and it turns out they're not really half ghouls. So like you have no context of what's happening.
That's weird.
Interesting.
And then season 4 happens again, no context of what's happening, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he has his memories back.
Is that true to the manga though?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is some whack stuff right there.
So chapters wise, season 1, maybe you're talking like 40 chapters.
Okay.
Season 2, 3 canon chapters.
There's no way.
I'm not kidding.
How does that even work?
I don't. That's why it was bad.
Okay.
Season 3, glossed over about another 20 chapters that you don't get to see, and then goes over the next like 10 chapters. That some of it's canon, some of it's not, and then I have no idea what the heck they did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it needs a whole new multiple seasons.
Please.
Dang, that's crazy.
Because the story's great in the manga.
Ooh, I have a good one. So this one's not finished yet. Oh, shoot. Should I spoil it? I wanted to talk about Attack on Titan. You're right. Let's skip it.
No. I think it's fine because we don't know what the actual ending is going to be.
That's
because
true.
They confirmed that they were actually going to change it for the anime.
Yeah, they're going to change it. Yeah,
so
they're all going to give a different ending.
Honestly, this isn't even a spoiler because...
But still, just in case, here is your spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for the manga.
Spoiler for the manga.
Yeah. So basically, in the manga, the ending is that Eren did all this, with the understanding that it's not right, but with knowing that they'll stop him, they'll kill him, and they'll be seen as heroes because they stopped him, who is gonna go on this like genocidal rampage. And in the last moments, when he's dying, Mikasa has her first and final kiss with him, like while he's dying, and they affirm their love, kind of. And then there's this weird epilogue scene where she's standing over his gravestone, I think, with John,
yeah.
and their child, and she basically says in front of John,
And the child.
Like, Eren is the only man I've ever loved, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And John is just like, yeah, sounds about right. Like, what a sad life this man is living. But honestly, that's depressing. I don't want that. They've confirmed. Spoilers are done. So they've confirmed they're going to change the ending for sure. But how much they're changing is not yet determined. So they could end up changing everything.
Yeah.
And to give us a slightly happier ending. Or they could just change a tiny part, which is what I think they might do, which is pretty much giving Mikasa a whole episode just to herself, which was never written in the manga, and just kind of delving into her character development a little more, because it feels like we kind of gloss over her these days.
Yeah, so I think from like the Mikasa standpoint, I think the reason why they gave like that weird like Will Smith and Tupac like ending where it's like you know, this is the only band I've ever loved. I think the reason why she's even with him isn't necessarily for love. I think it really is just procreation, because if you remember, she's like the last like heir to the like, I guess like
Ackermans.
No, it's not the Ackermans. It's the
Asians.
Oh yeah,
the Asian group in
I forget what they're called.
Yeah, because like she's like the only Asian character
Yep.
in all of Attack on Titan.
Until
well, before her mom.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the whole reason is, you know, she does have to keep that lineage going. But I mean, in reality, I don't think that's like any good way to end it. But at the same time, there's like a lot of frustrations I have with Attack on Titan in general, which is the fact that I get why they have it going this way, but you ever like just look at something and you're like, you could have just avoided everything. And that's when Eren was like, you know, what is our relationship?
Oh yeah, and she's like, oh,
she's
my
like,
family.
Yeah, like we're just.
I
friends.
think he wanted to hear more.
Oh, of course
but
he did.
the sad part is he knew what he was gonna hear.
Yeah.
He knows the past and the future of all lives.
But he knows only glimpses because he can't control the memories.
That's true.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say though is I was thinking about what would I want, right? If it's not what's in the manga, what would I want? And everyone's going to have a different answer, but the unfortunate part is they've already set it up where they only have 12 years to live. This is, you know, very, very pre-established. Yeah. And Eren is coming near that end of his time span. Same thing for Armin. He's not as close, but he will get there. And unfortunately for Eren, he got his power so young, meaning he's destined to live a very short life. And one thing I was thinking would be great, which is too optimistic and doesn't actually fit the flow of this series, is what if after he gets all of the powers, he like controls the founder to pretty much get rid of all Titans. I don't know why. I don't know what that would fix, but in getting rid of all Titans, he also loses his power, meaning his lifespan is now normal because he's not a Titan anymore.
But he does kind of do that already. Oh, manga. Yeah, so remember he takes away all the Titans' abilities.
Yeah.
Before he dies.
But like I'm saying, like do that, but like don't die.
Oh,
but
Eren lives.
Yeah, so much so that his powers are let him live for a long time. I think the problem is no one kills him.
He's past the point of that return because he essentially gave up his body in order to become that like specific Titan.
That Doomsday
that's
Titan.
what I'm saying in this new ending that I've crafted.
Scenario.
But the issue is that he also left like a good portion of the world still alive, right? And like, if that were to happen, how would they defend themselves?
You guys aren't. See, here's the thing. They're still seen as heroes because they're gonna lie here. Okay, listen. Okay, they're gonna lie. Okay. Oh yeah, we killed Eren. You know, like whatever. They still get all of the benefits of what he had planned out, except him and Mikasa go and just live on a like desolate island somewhere by themselves.
See, so my perfect ending is a little bit darker than that.
Isn't it always?
Personally, because I was Team Eren all the way.
Okay.
Because I get it. I get his hatred.
Yeah.
I get why he wanted to essentially destroy the world. He stopped too soon. So if he were to finish, again, I said dark, finish destroying everybody else where it was just his people left. That's it. then take away the Titan powers. That way, there's no more limiters. There's no more power struggle when it comes to control.
And just start new.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess why not, right? They thought they were the only people alive the entire time. Now, here's my ideal version. What was the name of the female Titan?
Oh, Anna? Or Anne?
Is it Anna?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My ideal version is all like whatever happens, like Annie. Whatever happens, I don't care what happens, but whenever Armin goes back to see her, he says, "Oh my gosh," he goes in for the hug, arrests her, says, "You're still a traitor. Glad you're finally out of your shell."
Yes.
Wow. You know, when they were talking about how Armin, I forget who was telling him this, but they were saying, like, Armin, you only like Annie because you have Bertolt's memories and you inherit some of his feelings.
Yeah.
And they were like, think about it. Before you became the Titan, what did you feel about her? Were you attracted to her? And he's like realizing, like, no, he was not. I thought that was crazy. And I think they just kind of left it there, which is great because, you know, in real life, you don't really get a happy bow tied on everything.
Well, a lot of it too. That's why Eren was questioning Mikasa.
In case she inherited something?
No, because she's an anchorman. She's bound to listen to him.
Yeah.
Levi does not listen to him, let me tell you.
No, but yeah, but that's also why like a lot of people don't think he was able to kill Zeke. Because they're bound to loyalty or to the royalty.
Okay.
To the royalty
Blood.
as in.
Yeah.
But
Eren
Eren doesn't have royal blood.
Yeah.
Eren has a little bit of royal blood.
From who?
He's not full. His dad.
His dad wasn't royal.
Yeah,
his dad wasn't the royal.
No,
his
Zeke's mom was royal.
Mom was the
Yeah.
royal.
Yeah.
So I guess
Fake
he was-
fan,
no,
fake
no.
fan.
No, that's a fair thing though, because
Yeah.
like only the royal Titan, like, or Titans with royal blood, are supposed to be able to control the founding Titan. But it's just the fact that like he used his talk no jutsu on the founding Titan, which
The weakest talk no jutsu I've ever seen. He just hugs her. I don't know.
Pretty
he just
much,
like holds her, and he says like the weakest speech I've ever heard in my life. And she's like, "You right though."
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah.
First person to give her a hug is what happens. It's the power of the hug.
Dang
Yeah.
it. All right.
My other one, and I don't think I don't have any problem with the anime. I just think that there could have been more connections to the actual, manga. And I think the actual manga was pretty sick. And I would have wanted more from the anime in general, was Soul Eater. Now, that being said, I'd rather them just, if they're going to put the effort, just put it into Fire Force. Because Fire Force is popping off. But, I mean, I think being able to have, like, seen, like, Death the Kid, actually become Death would have been sick. I think progressing that story a little bit further. I think there's just a lot that we don't really get to touch on.
Yes.
And it's not even like a continuation. It's just like they just changed things up on how the story ended.
Yeah.
Now I do think they also do need another season.
We need a brotherhood.
But yeah,
there's no option for a second season because it's strayed too far.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I still want them to keep the original feel of it. I don't want them to change that.
Where it's like more goofy.
Yeah, because I think they did a good job in character development. Yeah. I just think they just took away stuff because it felt like it was very crammed, right? So we just need them to expand upon it a little bit more.
Yeah, I want to see Soul become a Death Scythe. I love Soul. He hits all my marks. Yeah. He's slightly dumb.
Slightly?
Okay, he's kind of, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see more Excalibur.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of which, do you believe in that theory?
What?
Who Excalibur was prior?
What was the theory?
The Fire Force.
Fire Force.
That it's Arthur?
Yeah.
I have a theory, and I don't think it's that he was Arthur. My theory is that in like the future, he's Arthur's like Death Scythe, if you will, because like Arthur never really had any of these abilities. Yes, Arthur's dumb, but like who else could have been the perfect pair for him to be their weapon other than Arthur?
That's true.
So I don't, and especially because Arthur would like wield Excalibur. I think that makes sense more than he is Excalibur.
If Arthur became a sword for some reason, I don't think he would go by Excalibur.
Yeah, because Arthur doesn't want to be anything but a knight.
Yeah,
that's true.
So for me, I got where people were coming from at first. I was like, they were like, oh, Excalibur and Arthur might be connected. And I was like, yes, that's what I've been saying. And then I read the theory, and I was like, you guys just like missed the obvious path.
Yeah.
Which is like Arthur in every story has always been like always wielded Excalibur, and then they were like, he is Excalibur, and I was like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that he said it, it doesn't seem like the
clicks,
more obvious one.
Yeah, it clicks a lot more. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's my feeling. I mean, man, I love Arthur. His backstory is so tragic.
Oh, I know. It's not even like that crazy. It's just, but somehow it
it makes sense.
Pulls at your heartstrings so much.
See, for me, if I just get to see more Black Star, I'm good.
Oh,
yeah, he was my favorite character. So
yeah,
man, it's crazy how we all have different favorite characters
in Soul Eater.
Yeah,
for mine, I think I don't know if it's either Excalibur or Death the Kid.
Yeah.
See, Death the Kid is my second favorite.
How he like holds the guns upside down.
Yeah.
So I have tried doing that before.
Did you like break your pinky?
Dude, it's actually really hard just to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
yeah, but it was fun.
I'll
never do it again.
All right. Do you have any more?
Yeah, it's not very popular, but I would love for it to get redone properly. Sword Art Online.
Oh,
you didn't like Sword Gal Online or Gun Gal Online?
Dude, no, like the original series, right? Because in the light novels, it's actually like good. You know, even though I will admit, when I first started getting into anime, SAO was like the first thing I saw because it was on Netflix, and I was like, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
And like, oh, this is really cool. This concept that if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And when I rewatched it a few years after watching good anime, I was like, wow, the pacing's off.
The pacing's terrible.
Yeah, you know, the story doesn't make sense because he gets all these buffs out of nowhere. I have no idea how he's a perfect protagonist, you know. So it's like I don't know what the male version of a Mary Sue is, but like whatever that's considered.
Yeah,
he's like just overly perfect, and it just became lame. But in the light novels, it was he's a Kirito. I mean, he's still like OP, but he's a lot more grounded. And I would have liked to have seen him go level to level, like floor by floor,
for like character development rather than just like having like just straight up busted powers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we went from level 1, like the first floor boss, to like level 25.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're at like level 70 something. I'm like, what is this? And I forget the female's name, the main girl, Asuna. Yeah, Asuna. Yeah. All of a sudden they're like in a relationship and they're married when they've had like 3 interactions.
Wow.
Yeah. So it would have been a lot better if they actually went through the light novel, but like that would also be like 9 seasons.
Yeah. Well, what was really weird to me is I've never watched it. Well, I watched like bits and pieces, but not really. And every time someone talks to me about Sword Art Online, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like of course I watched it. It was so big, right? It was so big in the anime community for so long." And all of their reactions are like, "Yeah, it was okay." And I'm like, why did it become this huge sensation at the time?
I think it's because it was like one of the first ones that was so readily available on a streaming platform.
Yeah. It was like, I think the only things Netflix really had were that, Attack on Titan, and then a few of the early episodes of Naruto. Even though Shippuden was already out, they didn't have Shippuden.
Yeah, I think they only had up until the start of the tuning exam.
Yeah, something like that.
So not even the best part of Naruto.
No,
wow.
You really just get like the Rock Lee bodying Sasuke.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah, isn't that all we need?
Yeah.
But like that's really all we got, and I can't remember. They had Devils of a Part-Timer.
Oh, and Fairy Tail. But like only season 1 of Fairy Tail.
Yeah, up until Fantasia, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's how I got into Fairy Tail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Fairy Tail is one of those animes where if someone was saying, should I get into Fairy Tail now? I'd be like, just watch Eden Zero.
Yeah.
Because it's just like an abridged fairy tale.
Also, season 2 is airing now.
Season 2 is airing. Season 1 was great.
Yeah.
The first episode, I cried a little.
Oh, dude, that was so sad.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah, it was touching.
I'm gonna say I don't agree with you with the Eden Zero over Fairy Tail, because especially, well, I don't know, maybe this is not the right take, but especially if you're a girl, I watch Fairy Tail
For Natsu.
70% for Natsu, 30% for a story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Eden Zero's protagonist, what is his name?
Oh,
I'm dropping
he's
it. I'm
so
dropping it
forgettable. Unfortunately,
Eden.
yeah, like he's just not compelling, nor can I say it attractive. I know he's just like Natsu, but he's
exactly Natsu.
No, but he's missing the attractiveness.
No, he's Natsu mixed with Gray.
Yeah,
he's missing the charmingness. He's missing the I don't know, something about him is not nearly as attractive as Natsu.
But they do have that one like professor that when his younger version, he's a stud.
He is a stud, but not as much of a.
But
he becomes the main character.
But story wise, comparing first season to first season.
Yeah, no, for sure, Eden Zero
And
has a better story.
I think Fairy Tail, I'll still give it as like probably one of the animes that has made me like actually feel emotions the most. But I think for someone that's new that's trying to get into anime, there's so many fillers.
Well,
yes.
And it's also one of those things, like, that's why I don't recommend Naruto for a lot of people when they're first getting into anime.
Yeah. The fillers are pretty unbearable.
Yeah. Naruto is for, at this point, people who have been watching anime for a while and want to put in that commitment.
Yeah.
It is not for someone just starting off.
I agree. I think nowadays, I like there's so many good things every season that you can usually find something to recommend to someone that like happened the season before, like the current one, so that way they have like a full thing to binge.
Yeah.
I think anime is best when you can binge it.
I
Like, don't get me wrong,
yes.
I like waking up on Saturdays or like during the weekdays, whatever like your simulcast comes up on. I like having that as a treat, but there's nothing better than just sitting on the couch and just binging something.
No, dude, because sometimes when I'm watching something weekly and it drops on it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to wait a week.
Or you're forced to read the manga.
Yeah. Or look just straight up, just look up the answer to what you want.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why next episode we're gonna be going over different simulcasts that are airing that we actually recommend.
Yep.
And the episode after that we're gonna go over shows that you can send to people who don't watch anime to get them into anime. Really great entry points, because for someone who doesn't watch anime, simulcasts are not always the best place to start because people love binging. But on the separate note, just because you look up best animes, that is not the list you should go to.
No, because everyone has different tastes, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, especially because like if you look at a lot of the top animes
They're
right now,
shonen.
it's a lot of shonen. It's a lot of like shonen that has like 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we can't do that to a newbie. You know, we're gonna lose them.
Yeah, because if you look at my anime list, I think it's like you have like Hunter x Hunter, you have Full Metal Alchemist, you're gonna have Golden Kamui,
probably Naruto, Bleach, One Piece.
So it's like all these things that are like over 100 episodes where most people are like, they're gonna see that number and be like, nope.
Yeah.
And I would too. I still do. That One Piece number scares me.
Well, just 1,000 episodes.
Just 1,000.
Just over
I watched
72.
I watched until Ace dies. How far in do you think that is? Like
wait,
100?
You watched up until Ace dies?
Yeah.
Like, so you didn't finish that arc?
No, once Ace died, I was like, I'm out.
So you didn't finish the best arc. That's like my favorite arc in One Piece.
Oh, I don't. It's been a long time though.
Yeah, I don't remember what episode number, but that's pretty far in.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty far in?
Yeah, that's pretty far in.
Are we talking like 600 or are we talking like 300?
Like 2.
Oh, yeah. I can't watch 800 episodes. I just don't have the time.
Just watch the movies. I'm going to get canceled for saying this. But literally, if you watch the movies, they go arc by arc just faster.
That's crazy.
There's a little hack if you guys want to catch
up. All right, guys.
Don't cancel me.
All right, guys. It's been a great episode. Like Jess said, next week we're going to go over new animes that we recommend to everyone. So stay tuned. All right.
Bye.